It's another session at Grove Studios, Acoustic Alternatives with John Bomarito. Show number 90-something. I'm losing track. I don't know. Started doing it just a little over 5 years ago at the encouragement of the folks at Grove Studios in Ypsilanti. And if you're a musician or a podcaster or a DJ, this is a spot for you to do your thing, get out of the garage, get into the studio, get out of your apartment. You can make a lot more noise here and not disturb anybody. And I'm really grateful that they allow me to do this really fun thing that I used to do in my radio world job in Ann Arbor, but lost that in the pandemic. And this has opened up another door for me to expose people to either musicians that have been around for 40-some years, like my most recent guest, David Wilcox, or some that haven't been around quite that long. But for me, they're up there in the same category. They're the same level of awesomeness. Today, it's the Michigan-based artist who got my attention at a showcase many years ago at the Arc, where I think it was just one song. He did Marshall Street from her second album, Leaving Marshall Street. One song, and I was hooked. And we've had all sorts of visits since about 2006 or 2007 over the year. But today, we don't have to worry about it being like a certain length for any radio show. We're just going to talk and play. And so happy to be joined by multi-instrumentalist Jen Sygit. Hello, Jen.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's about time. And we are doing this not around that album, but it's just because, 5 years into the podcast, I thought I'd have you sooner. But we were waiting for something important.
Something fun to promote, maybe.
Yeah, there is something.
There is something.
What's it going to be?
Though I have performed a bazillion uncountable times at this point at the Arc in Ann Arbor, I have never headlined a show there, which is kind of weird. I
don't know how that's possible.
Well, we did technically have one booked pre-pandemic, but as many things went by the wayside in the pandemic, also the show went by the wayside, so fell by the wayside. Yeah. So I did do a garage performance in Mike Lynch. If you're not familiar with who that is, he plays with a bazillion bands, Steppin' in it, and really like a bazillion bands. Steppin' in it and The Insiders are probably his main two projects. Anyway, we played in his garage for a live stream for the Arc in lieu of the stage performance. But nope, this is going to be the real honest to goodness first time headlining.
This far into your
I know.
It's crazy, your career.
Yeah, and I did try my last album release, but just lines got crossed and it never ended up happening. So, yeah. So, and to be fair, Anya herself reached out to me for this one, so it wasn't even on my own steam. It was her saying, "Hey, want to come headline a show at the Arc?" And I was like, "I probably should. Probably should at some point."
Who would say no to that?
I know.
November
right?
30th is the date.
November 30th. It's Thanksgiving weekend, but it is the Sunday of. So hopefully your family plans and your Friday shopping spree is over.
I got Saturday plans, but not Sunday plans. But I do now.
All right, yay!
Mars McCartney is your opener.
Mars McCartney is my opener. So I have hosted an open mic in Lansing since 2003. Lansing's where I hail from. You might have said that. I forgot if you did. And one of my amazing guest hosts when I'm off doing other shows is a fella named Mars McCartney, and he just dropped his very first full-length album. It's just really stripped down him and his guitar, but he's an amazing singer and songwriter. His voice is to die for. He sounds a little bit like Nick Drake vibes as his voice, and his guitar playing is very strong. And I'm excited to bring him to Ann Arbor and to expose him to some new folks. I think he's going to get a lot of new fans at the show. So. And
when you Google him, the first thing that comes up is Paul McCartney and Wings, Venus and Mars.
Yeah, yeah.
But he is in there.
Yes, that's his chosen name. I won't tell you his real name because that's his chosen name.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, before we get into conversation about you and your life, you have a guitar, and I would love to hear you sing and play.
All right, let's try a song. Well, we'll do this song at the Arc show probably. And when I say we, I'll be there with my trio, which features a songwriter from Grand Rapids named Eric Engblade, and a local girl, fiddle player, multi-instrumentalist, singer, amazing songwriter, all of the things, Emily Slomovitz. And the two of them will be backing me up. And I miss them on this song because they have kind of like cool backup singery parts, which is fun for me.
I'm not going to do it.
Normally, I'm the backup singer, so it's fun to flip the switch and be the front person and have them singing backup for me. But this is a newer song of mine that I'm thinking about doing a new album soon, but I'm not there with material. But this will probably be on it. I wrote this tune for my, maternal grandmother who passed a couple Decembers ago. I know you said play a song and I'm still talking, but I'm wearing, you can see me because we're being videoed. I'm wearing these sort of Native American inspired earrings made by a local Michigan woman named Denise. And I have a lot of Native American heritage, and I don't talk about it a lot because I look very pale for someone with Native heritage. However, my grandmother was a card-holding member of the Cattle tribe, and she made baskets out of pine needles and stuff, and I've posted photos of them online. They're really intricate, and some are in museums down in the South. And I have photos of her with the tribe chief and such. At any rate, this song, I didn't meet her till I was a senior in high school. My mother didn't know her from when she was 5 till I was a senior in high school. We had one Polaroid picture of her the entire time I was growing up, taped up on a mirror. And I did finally meet her for the first time, again, as when I was a senior. But I was never quite as close to her as I was with my paternal grandmother, who was basically like a third parent to me. And so when she passed, I felt regret, and I went on a bit of a deep dive about her life. And that's where this song came from. The name of the tune is Cowgirl, Cadillac, which was her vanity plate on her red pickup truck. So here we go. This is the full title is Grandma Went to Heaven in a Cowgirl, Cadillac.
Grandma went to heaven in a cowgirl Cadillac. Candy apple finish, can of Lone Star on the dash. In a neon halo with blue jean wings, pulling 777s on the side machine. Grandpa went to heaven in a cowgirl Cadillac. Born in Louisiana where the South Red River winds, whittled in the slashes from the bough of an old swamp pine. Poster child of the silent generation, a basket weaving wife for the kind donation. Born in Louisiana where the South Red River winds. Grandma went to heaven in a cowgirl Cadillac. Candy apple finish, can of Lone Star on the dash. In a neon halo with blue chain wings, pulling 777s on a slot machine. Grandma went to heaven in a cowgirl Cadillac. She tried domestication, but the lifestyle didn't take. The honeymoon was over before they cut the wedding cake. 3 kids later, she was starting to drown. Put the girls to bed one night and then escaped town. She tried domestication, but the lifestyle didn't take. Grandma went to heaven in a cowgirl Cadillac. Candy apple finish, can of Lone Star on the dash. In a neon halo with blue chain wings, pulling 777s on the slot machine. Grandma went to heaven in a cowgirl Cadillac. tried domestication, but the lifestyle didn't take. The honeymoon was over before they cut the wedding cake. 3 kids later, she was starting to drown. Put the girls to bed one night and then escaped town. She tried domestication, but the lifestyle didn't take. Grandma went to heaven in a cowgirl Cadillac. Candy apple finish, can of Lone Star on the dash. In a neon halo with blue jean wings, pulling 777s on the slot machine. Grandma went to heaven in a cowgirl Cadillac. Grandma went to heaven in a cowgirl Cadillac. Alma went to heaven in a cowgirl Cadillac.
So that went out to your grandma, Jen Sygit.
And I forgot to tell that important part of the story, which was our entire life we called her Marie, Grandma Marie, G. Marie. And after she passed, I found out her real name was Alma.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, no big deal. Totally different.
Whatever.
The other fascinating part that didn't make it into the song yet, I reserve the right to change it in the future, is that her sister also went by a pseudonym, and they're both buried together in the cemetery, which is very interesting.
They don't like their real names, apparently.
I guess they're just, sisters in secrecy. I don't know.
Jen Sygit is my guest today on Acoustic Alternatives at Grove Studios. It's a song you will probably hear at the Ark at Go on November 30th. It's the newest one of the newest ones anyway, not available on one of the 4 records, and potentially will be available on a forthcoming record at some point.
Yeah, I'm getting in gear. I'm definitely motivated to get a new record to happen.
It's time.
It's always time.
Yeah.
It's like constantly time is how it feels. But yeah, it's just always hard. The follow through is the hard part. Like finishing all the songs and feeling proud of them and ready to release them into the world is the tricky part.
Now that one, as a specific spots, I'm sure like me, you're hearing like, oh, here's a guitar solo. Here's like, when you write, do you think that way?
I do often think that way. Yes, not always, but yeah, I have.
You had some big segments there where there was.
Yeah,
just like,
I mean, to be fair, all of music is an oral tradition, and we're all listening to other things, ingesting them, and hopefully using bits of them in our own writing in our own way. Instead of thievery.
There are only so many notes, Jen.
So, when you're writing a song, I don't think it's totally unusual for an artist to have a concept perhaps based on another song they like. It might be a vibe, it might be a rhythm, it might be a melody, or a combination of such, as long as you don't get sued. And at any rate, I think whatever song you're vibing from has things going on that maybe you imagine as part of your own song.
Maybe Brand New Cadillac, the song that The Clash covered. Was it a cover? Yeah, anyway.
Or Pink Cadillac.
Cadillac.
There's lots of Cadillac. Yeah, there's some
Cadillacs.
Cadillac songs out there. Luke Winslow King
Yeah. Well, let's back up to a time when Grandma was still with us. You were in Marysville, which is near Port Huron, right?
Yep.
That's where you grew up?
My brother still lives there. I grew up in a little town called Marysville, which is at the base of the thumb near Port Huron. So Bridge to Canada is very close also. So my first ever gigs were bizarrely in a little Irish pub in Ontario in Sarnia. It was called Paddy Flaherty's.
Oh, Paddy Flaherty. My friend Paddy.
Paddy Flaherty's. Oops.
Oh, I love you, Paddy.
And it was like old Irishmen yelling, sing this Irish tune for me. And I got paid in beer because the drinking age there is 19. If you're not from this area, you don't probably know that.
Yeah.
So, all of the U.S. kids where I grew up were all hopping over the border and drinking at a much younger age. When I turned 21, it was kind of like, whatever, I've been doing this for 3 whole years already. So
we did the Windsor trip from my area, so I know the thing.
And I do have relatives that live in Sarnia and in Ontario as well. So, so that's part of my heritage for sure. The grandmother the song was about is more of a Southern. She was Louisiana, Shreveport area most recently. The end of her life, she passed in Michigan, but spent a lot of her life in the South. So, yeah, my mom was a military brat. And so my grandfather was in the Air Force, and that's how he met my grandmother. So we've got very white Irish on one side and Native American on the other. So, and a couple generations later, here I am.
And I'm glad for that, of course. Before the 19 drinking age gigs, what were you doing as a kid? Like, what kind of stuff made you excited? Did you always play guitar? Were you?
I grew up with music in my heart, for sure. My parents tell me stories now as an adult. Like, I was the first child. If you believe in birth order things, it usually means you listen to your parents and, you're well behaved. And that was me. I was very well behaved. My brother was the hellion. I'm throwing him under the bus, but it's okay. And my father said a story where a couple nights in a row I was not being a good child, in his opinion.
What?
Not me. I would never that. And he eventually came in my bedroom. The lights were off, but I was up, and he turns the lights on and says, "Jennifer, why are you not in bed?" And I said, "I can't sleep because of the songs in my head." That's a direct quote, according to my father. And they also say, and I do have some fun photos of me as a very young child playing instruments. And basically, if we went to someone else's house and there was a piano or any form of instrument there, I would not talk to anybody. I would just be like on the instrument the whole time. And by the end, playing Twinkle, Twinkle or whatever, a child plays. And I do have photos of me at like 5 or 6 years old on the piano and with really bad finger form going, ha, ha, ha.
That was your first instrument was piano then?
I think that's just a really available instrument to children. My first was probably recorder, and I played trombone in the high school band. But the first thing I ever wrote on was keys. If you're not a keyboard player, it's laid out very nicely in front of you compared to guitar, where you have to have calluses and finger dexterity and muscle built up. You can't often pick up a guitar and just immediately play it, but keyboard you kind of can. And if you've got a good ear, which is primarily what I am, I do read a little music, but I'm certainly not a strong music reader. But if you've got a strong ear, piano is your friend, because it's very, very quick and easy to see the patterns of the chords. And yeah, so my first, probably honestly not even keyboard, but bad, cheap grandma's retired organ in the basement was probably where I first wrote songs. My very first song ever was called Hot Love. I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. Sorry, can I say hell? I just did twice.
It's a podcast. It's not radio.
Yeah, so it was hot love running through my veins. Hot love. Boy, you can't explain. It's that hot love that you can't resist. Come on, baby, give me a kiss. Those were the lyrics.
Where do you think that came from?
I think it came from Madonna.
Okay,
Probably Madonna influence, or like over hypersexualized pop music. I didn't know what I was saying. I was just rhyming words and it sounded cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was my first foray into writing. I wrote a musical in 4th grade. We're going way back.
Wow, a musical.
With a girlfriend of mine for Earth Day. Yes.
You should pull that back out.
I don't remember a lick of it. It happened, though.
Nobody video recorded this?
That's a good question. I'm going to ask my parents.
All right. This feels like a thing that needs to come out next April. All right. So
we're going way back.
Yeah. So musical theater was part of your history, too. You did that in high school?
I did a lot of musical theater. I went to Interlochen. I was in marching band and concert band and, jazz band. I was the singing trombone player. So I would gonna take a sentimental journey playing it on my trombone, stand up and sing it, and sit back down and play more trombone.
Bring that back. I'm at a jazz station now.
I know, but I went to college and I had to have some beer money, so I sold my trombone for beer money. It was a horrible idea.
Can you still play?
My embouchure probably sucks. I could get it back, but my embouchure, I'd probably, if you don't know what embouchure is, it's what you do if you're playing an instrument that has a mouthpiece on it. So that would be like trumpet, French horn, tuba. You need something called embouchure, and it's like the way you smush your lips into the metal. I swear that's really all it is. But that increases in intensity the smaller the mouthpiece and the higher pitch of the instrument. So I used to play trombone, so at this point I could probably play tuba. But it would take me a while to get back into form to play trombone, is my opinion.
I'm surprised all those Lansing nights watching Stepping In It, you didn't get up there and say, hey, I can
I can play trombone.
Can I step in over here while you play another instrument?
I know. I do wish that I would have kept it and kept the skill up more, but it isn't something that's super conducive on your own. It's as you mentioned, it's kind of like you play it in a band or with other people. Right. So as a songwriter, I gravitated more towards instruments where I could just back myself up instead of requiring other people to play with.
Fair
Although
enough.
it is very fun to play with other people too.
Oh, yeah.
And now I try to strike a balance of both.
You should. It's good. What did you study specifically at Interlochen?
Well, I went several times to what's called their All-State program, which is actually run by U of M. Okay. Ironically, we're in Ann Arbor. And so you wear maize and gold as your uniform for camp. And that's a 2-week program where it's very much like you just immerse yourself in one thing. So for me, I was a vocalist, so I went for their voice program. So it's like you're in a big choir and you do like a female madrigal and an all-female ensemble, and maybe like you audition for some small ensemble, and it's just all intensive singing all the time. And then my last foray into Interlochen was for what's called their international program. And it's 8 weeks long, and it's a little more like college. And if you're someone like me with more of a well-rounded interest in the arts, it was preferable because I got to take voice, piano, trombone, visual art, which is something I'm also very into. I had a painting hanging outside of Kresge Auditorium for a while because my professor liked it enough that it got picked to... I keep hitting the mic. I'm sorry, John. I got picked to have my piece displayed. I still have it in my basement in a cardboard thingy.
Nice.
I do get to use some of those skills now as a performer because I still do all my own postering and all my own graphic design for the most part, unless the venue offers it. Yeah. So it's a skill I still get to play around with a little bit. But yeah, so the international program was great for someone who ended up being a songwriter, just because again it lets you explore all different avenues within the art world and not just focusing solely on singing all of the time. And I did honestly get accepted to the academy my senior year of high school, but it's one of my big regrets in life that I turned it down. It was the biggest scholarship they ever gave, and I turned it down because I was a senior and I thought I really want to spend my senior year at my high school. Again, biggest regret, but in the moment, I thought it was important to me. So I could have potentially gone to the academy my senior year, but again, we make choices.
Yep. When did you relocate to Lansing?
I moved to Lansing in '99 as a junior. I went to a little community college where I grew up called St. Clair Community College for a couple of years, paid for it out of my pocket, working at an orthodontics office and a photo lab.
Ooh.
Yeah, I used to take ligatures off the local sheriff's teeth. Don't screw up or he'll pull you over. Just kidding. Yeah, so that was how that happened. I transferred in as a junior as an English major, and then I sort of morphed what I ended up wanting to do, because you sort of change your mind throughout college what you want to be when you grow up. And I
think I figured it out finally.
yeah, so I thought I wanted to go into advertising, and so I morphed my English degree sort of into an advertising degree by going and seeing what they were required to take for the College of Advertising, and then doing as many of those as I could through English, which I was able to do quite a bit. So advertising and psychology and things like that. Flash forward, I get a job before I graduate at Elderly Instruments, which is a famous music store in Lansing. Yeah. And because I was working there, I saw, holy cow, there are people making a living playing music that aren't like Britney Spears level, so it is possible. And so I had an interview at an advertising firm, and not everybody has their epiphany moment, but I had an epiphany moment where I called the day of the interview a couple hours before and canceled it. But I had an advertising interview at a firm for sports and entertainment. And I guess I made the decision I was going to give it a shot. And so, yeah, that was probably around 2002 or something. And then 2003, or no, it was probably a little bit later than that, actually. It was probably a little after my first record came out in 2003. But I think it was slightly after that I made the real go at doing it for a living. So, yeah.
First record, Camera.
First record,
People
here
listening.
to there. No one even knows about that record, hardly.
No one. Not even John.
It's a deep cut. Well, you know a lot more than the average Joe.
Well,
but yeah.
Can't help myself.
I do have 4 records. I think a lot of people think I have 3.
So Here to There, that's the one I'm holding in my hand for those watching it on the video. 2003 release. This is truly your first
That's
released?
truly the first record.
So there's nothing like independent hiding out there before
Nope,
that?
I kind of consider that my independent release.
No, it
I mean,
is.
they all are, but
essentially. Well, that is a good start. And then we eventually find ourselves, from this point of your career, playing more, getting out on gigs. And I imagine because the Michigan music scene, especially the folk Americana scene, is very supportive of one another.
they are.
I find that to be true with many musicians.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always a little bit of competition because there's only so many gigs, but overall, from my travels outside of the state, I do think we have a special situation here where people are more a community and less competitive. So
I think I'm on the board for the Michigan Music Alliance, which our
Yeah.
motto is collaboration over competition, which is
Yep.
perfect for at least the Americana scene. Who was the first one to really kind of pick you up and take you under their wing and say, "Hey, everybody, this is Jen Sygit"?
yeah, I mean, I a little bit made it happen myself because I was just it was just what I was interested in. So it didn't feel hard to make inroads because I was just like, you play music, you're cool, let's be friends. And I happened to have a class with Joshua Davis of Steppin' It, or just Joshua Davis on his own is famous now. So, I met him through college and he has now gone on to do great things. Dominic John Davis was he produced my last record, plays bass for Jack White amongst a million other amazing folks, produces lots of records, including my last record. He was the first person I met not in my dorm at MSU. So it was partly that I was just interested. I met him because I went straight to the Fine Arts Library and he was the librarian at the time. Okay. So, that's kind of how it happened organically.
Perfect.
Through them, I met Seth Bernard, and Seth Bernard invited me to be a part of Earthwork Music, which I'm officially not a part of Earthwork, but I think in my heart I'm always part of Earthwork, and I still work with all the people involved. I'm just not officially on their website as a roster person any longer, but I spent a lot of years working with and through them. It all happened pretty organically for me. I didn't have there's no team. It's a team of one. And it's just meeting people and forming relationships. And again, the Michigan community being more of an inclusive, let's work together, and less of a competitive, I'm not going to help you out, vibe. So, yeah.
My guest today on Acoustic Alternatives is Jen Sygit. We're at Grove Studios in Ypsilanti. Jen, take a breath and then do another song and tell me what it's going to be.
Oh, I haven't decided.
Okay.
It's early for my voice, even though it's not that early. What do I want to do?
Well, consider this podcast an introduction to people that may not know who you are. So put your best feet forward. So somebody that maybe has never heard of you says, "Wow, what a great song! I want to go see her at the Ark on November 30th with Mars McCartney, or one of the many other gigs coming up." This is her song called "Tuning."
Well, this is still one of my favorite songs that I've written. It's from my latest record. I took a trip to Switzerland to visit a friend of mine. She's a Michigan native, but she married an Aussie, and he works internationally all over the world. So Switzerland's a nice neutral spot for them to live. And I was able to go visit and take an honest-to-God vacation. And I wrote this song while I was there called "Smell the Flowers."
Grab a globe, spin it round, close your eyes, put your finger down. It's there for the taking, the whole world could be ours if we start and smell the flowers. Flesh and bone, joy and pain, beneath the landscape, the soil's the same. It's unsown dreams, turn kind men out. So let's stop and smell the flowers. Find them blooming desert desert sands on alpine mountaintops, pushing through the concrete cracks and vacant urban lights, on the water, in the snow, along the boulevard, in exotic far-off lands, in your own backyard. Speak the truth, reject fear, make each day count while we're still here. We may have seasons or merely hours, so let's stop and smell the flowers. Yes, I stop and smell the flowers. Think it's time we stop and smell the flowers.
Smell the Flowers from the 2018 release. It's about time. Jen Sygit, my guest today on Acoustic Alternatives. We are at Grove Studios in Ypsilanti, grovestudios.space. If you want to check it out yourself and see what it looks like, I encourage you, especially if you live in the Ann Arbor, Detroit area, to consider this a place to do the band practice you've always wanted to do but are afraid to disturb your neighbors. I've mentioned this a few times on the radio side of my career. There's a neighbor I have that is old enough now to be a drummer in a band, but I didn't know that because I've never actually met this kid until one day he's walking down the street like, hey, I've heard you play drums. By the way, 20 minutes from your house, there's this place. I'm trying to encourage him, like, I don't necessarily want to hear you play drums unless it's in a bar. So anyway, it's good for that. It's good for not disturbing your neighbors. And Grove has been a supporter of Acoustic Alternatives, not just a podcast, but now also a segment on a radio station, Sonic Coast, that I do at 3 o'clock. And these songs from these sessions end up on the Acoustic Coffee Break. So that song will likely get spun as part of that because all of the songs are available for the Acoustic Coffee Break. And that's thanks to Grove Studios. So
You're a busy man.
I'm a busy man. I do things. The Acoustic Alternatives name has an umbrella. It has the podcast, it has the internet radio shows on Radio Cobra Detroit and Sonic Coast, and it has the weekly playlist. So it's multifaceted, and it has as much as I can do without having an FM signal to reach people to share this kind of music. So I'm glad that you're here.
Well, I'm glad you're here, and I appreciate you having me. And thanks for all of your support over the years. And yeah, you're one of my biggest supporters.
We're going to talk about that in a minute. But I have a tough question. I don't want it to be anything other than I don't understand. That's why I'm asking the question. Okay. I don't understand this and why. Because a lot of your friends that you have played with and I've associate you with have. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't even know. They've
grown more than I have.
Well, it's like to use the word successful doesn't sound right, but like Lindsay Lou plays festivals and Maze and touring a lot. Like it doesn't seem fair because when I think of you in the same sentence, right? It's like all these people I found at the same time are so good. And then Jen is still not. Yeah. This is your first time headlining the Arc, which I am still confused by.
I know it's probably a little bit on my own. I probably just didn't push hard enough to do the Arc, or I felt discouraged when I didn't get a reply. The last time I did a CD run, which is honestly the case. I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus. I love the Arc, but I did email them 9 months out and didn't hear back. So, I did try, but also should I have emailed them 5 times in that 9 months? Probably. Maybe. But, so that, it probably definitely partly falls on my own shoulders. I think I also have learned to not compare myself because I honestly feel mostly happy with where I'm at when I'm not comparing myself to other people. And so I'm trying to do that less and just be happy with where I'm at because I am seeing progress like financially and work-wise, and I've got my gigs sort of whittled down to things I only enjoy. I don't do things I don't enjoy anymore, and I'm happy to say no to things that I never used to say no to. I mean, I do think some people have had some luck. Some people have had the right relationships or right partner, or, does your partner have a music festival? Does your partner play for Jack White? There are different things that help that, of course. That's not the reason. They're all very talented, but 100%. I'm just saying there are also elements that are sort of luck or love the situation or the right social whatever. But I'm not dead yet, so you never know.
No, I mean, like a booking
And I am
agent-
pushing a little harder now, so we'll see. I've been trying to get a trio together the last couple years, so that's what I'm going to be appearing with at the Arc. And the idea was to have a project that I'm very proud of, that I feel like I can push with. And also, I want my next record to pretty much, like, whatever I make for the record, I want to translate to the live show. So whatever trio I'm playing with will be making the record. In the past, I've done studio records where I have all these great, amazing musicians, and I can get them usually for the CD release run, but I don't have them all the time. So I'd rather have a project that directly translates from the CD to the live show. And what you buy is what you're going to see when it's live. So that's some things I'm aiming for this next go round that we'll see if they help me or not, you know. I'm still here, still trying. Maybe I didn't release enough stuff. I don't know. It is a deep question and one I could probably ponder on and talk about all day. But again, I feel like I'm only disappointed when I do compare myself. So I'm trying to just be happy with what I'm doing. And I think ultimately that's probably better for me to push, because if I start comparing and getting disappointed, then it makes me less likely to push because I just feel defeated. You know what I'm saying?
Well, probably the biggest compliment that can come out of that, and that group of people that we're talking about, they cover your songs.
They do.
And that's got to be like, wow.
I mean, I feel accepted by the artists themselves.
Yeah, of
like,
course.
you know,
Well,
and it is.
Ask to go on tour with them.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and
Do you do more than just the regional stuff? Have you been out of Michigan lately?
Not really lately. Since the pandemic, no, not really.
Oh.
Before the pandemic, I was working on a 13-date tour on the West Coast before the pandemic. But again, that happened to a lot of people.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like the beginning of my kind of push to be national. And so the beginning just never happened with the last record because of the timing a little bit. So,
well, when I found you in about 2006 or 7, it was the Leaving Marshall Street record, which again, I'm holding up to a camera, which may or may not be able to see it. And that album became my number 5 album of the year, the first album I heard of yours. And I had to go back and find the older one. And I think you gave me a copy or something. But pretty good start for a new artist for me, Leaving Marshall Street. And then along came So Long Pollyanna a few years later, my best album of 2009.
yay!
And for a local artist to hit the top of my charts happens, but
It's a big deal to
not
me.
very often. But for somebody like you, I bet that felt pretty good that there's a guy in Ann Arbor that thinks my music is pretty good.
Definitely.
And then 2018, when we got to It's About Time, number 2 album of the year. So
thank
all
you.
3 of the last 3 albums have been in my top 5 albums. I know that may not seem like much to people, but I listen to at least 100 new albums a year.
It means a lot to me.
I rate them, on a scale based on the songs, and it's math.
I
So-
can't touch you, but I did do 10 years as a DJ in Lansing for the local radio station. So I know what it's like to be inundated with new music all the time and how it feels when you can actually cut through the din to be played or to be honored with anything in the top 5 of anything. So
It's a testament to your songwriting, though.
thank you.
The songs are great, and I understand partially why it takes you a while to put out a record, because like another person I'm a big fan of, Kylie Phillips, she's very meticulous about what she puts out.
Yeah.
She doesn't put out something that's pretty good. She puts out things that are great.
Yeah.
So
And I'm not prolific either. I don't know about Kylie as far as how many things she writes versus what she releases, but most of what I write gets released. That's the other thing is like I don't have like a ton of stuff. There's a few one-offs that I maybe wrote for a compilation CD or something like that. But most of the time if I'm writing, I'm not a person who writes like 30 songs and puts 10 on a record. I write 10 songs and put them on a record. So for better or worse, that's how I function. And
what do you find that inspires you to actually pick up the pen or whatever you write with to type?
Oh man, so many things.
I mean, there's a lot going on in the world right now.
So
If you write
many-
about the world, it'd be
I
easy.
know,
but
but that actually makes it harder in my opinion because there's so much coming at you. It's fatigue sometimes, and I want to write about this. 2 seconds later, no, I want to write about this because there's just always things happening. So then I feel obligated as a performer to sort of speak my mind as far as how I feel about the state of the world. But I also, is it easier to step away and just have fun songs that people can just escape with too? I don't know what the answer to that is. In the past, I've definitely not shied away from touching on politics, but I don't know what the current vibe means for
It can isolate you, but it's just you.
I mean, I'm being true to myself.
Authentic, right. That's
authentic, yep, is a better word. But yeah, I forget what the initial question was now. I've been waxing so poetically.
I guess it's about what you're finding inspiration for when you are writing. Like what is preventing
definitely
you from
I always feel inspired when I go see live music. But honestly, most of the time it's late then, and I'm like, I'm not going to write right now. But I do always feel inspired when I see others perform and moved by their performance. It makes me immediately want to go home and create my own things to move people with.
Do you have books of unfinished songs?
Oh, I have tons. So I'm a person who also writes more. Nothing is ever 100% across the board writing wise, but because I've written, lyrics first or music first or at the same time simultaneously, but I do tend to write the music first. So I have bizarrely finished like melody, chord progression, songs with no lyrics. That's kind of how I write. And I don't think it's typical because I've had other writers tell me it's not typical when I like send them something and they're like, yeah, I don't really like that. So, but what's normal? There is no real normal in songwriting. You just do what you do and you're thankful that you grabbed whatever inspiration you did from the universe and were able to put it on paper. But I have a lot of songs that are started. I have a really hard problem with finishing things. My follow through is where I'm lacking. I start lots of songs and then, yeah. So the shorter answer would have been yes. I've got lots of songs start sitting there, some with lyrics, some just full instrumental, but could be a song. I need a Bernie Taupin is what I always, the joke.
Maybe you need a partner.
The joke is, right. So I have actually tried a couple times in the last couple of years because I write this way. Kyle Joe is one person. I sent him some stuff. Another person you probably don't know, her name's Jillian Van Strat. She's actually an upper echelon reporter for MLive, but she and I came up at MSU together, and she was an English major also, and so we had some higher level courses of English together where we were like reading things and writing papers and editing each other's work. And she's a very strong writer, very creative person, and very into music. So we've sat down and tried also to work on, I do try. I've co-written with other people, Rachel Davis, we co-wrote Pay for What You Get Together. And co-writing is good. It can be helpful. You have to really feel able to be vulnerable with the other person.
That's what they do in Nashville. And they come up with,
Yep, true. Yeah, I wonder, depending on what you mean by Nashville, because if they're just like staff writers, sometimes I'm like, I guess I don't know what their inspiration is. It feels less personal to me, though.
It's more the concept that you could sit down and write with somebody, even if you don't know them very well. Just find people that have similar thought patterns to you. Sit down. If you want to write more songs, I want more music from Jen, so I'm being selfish.
I know, me too. I want more Jen Sygit material too.
Well, that's just me, like I said, being
I
selfish.
think also too, the older you get and the longer you're in the biz, you start feeling like you're repeating yourself or copying things you've already done. So I think that has I've never been a prolific writer, but I don't think it's helped me speed up as I've gotten older. I think it's the opposite, where I'm too aware of the audience, too aware of what I've already done, and not trying to copy other things or, I honestly do think I'm kind of stepping out of that a little bit now. I'm feeling, I did, recently I was an instructor at a songwriting retreat called Hugo Songs, hosted by Nicholas James Tomasma, who's a Grand Rapids songwriter. It's Nicholas James and the Bandwagon is his project. And one of my 3 workshops I had to present as an instructor, I did one on basically like borrowing versus stealing. And it was very fascinating to like really sit down and like look at songs that have borrowed heavily from other songs and things. And it made me feel less weird about it. And like once you really start like realizing, we all know it's an oral tradition. We all know we steal from each other to an extent. I do think obviously you should be stealing and putting your own self in there somewhere. It shouldn't just be mimicry. It should be, homage as opposed to mimicry. But it did help me, though. Putting that workshop together helped me feel less bad about borrowing things or being less concerned about accidentally. Like my first song I played today on the podcast is very much Springsteen vibes. And I'm at this point, I guess I'm sort of unapologetic. one of my side projects is a band called Stella with Joe Sarapere and Juliana Wilson. And when Joe first heard Cowgirl, Cadillac, she's like, it's just a Bruce Springsteen song. So, but it didn't bother me. So I think I'm making some progress in the, we're all doing the same thing. And, Bob Dylan was paying homage constantly to Woody Guthrie and like literally stole a melody and chord progression and wrote his own words over it in a tribute to Woody. So, I just think, again, we're all doing it. And I'm trying to give myself more grace than I give others. Or not more grace, but at least equal grace is what I'm trying to say. Because I give other people grace about it, but I don't give myself grace about it. You know what I mean?
That's how music progresses, though. I mean, the MC5 and the Stooges gave us the Ramones, or Ramones gave us Green Day, whatever. And the Beatles gave us everything, and the Stones gave us...
the Beatles were really just sucking everything out of the American rock and roll pop songbook, really.
So nothing to feel guilty
like if you
about.
watch those behind the scenes DVDs or whatever, or not DVDs, but the documentary. Yeah. I mean, they're in their downtime, they're playing all these American rock and roll tunes.
They covered Motown back in their early days too.
Yep. But they were really good, especially in their later career. The early career, they maybe were doing a little more mimicry and a little less homage. But by the end, it was like they're taking things and reworking them. And that's how, in my opinion, that's how magic happens in the biz the most, is just reworking something that's already happened or making something completely new. But yeah.
Well, you just played a bit ago a song from the latest album, It's About Time. And so I know that there's not enough ready for a new record, but on this one, we mentioned you worked with Dominic John Davis, who produced it, kind of encouraged you to make the record, actually. He somehow roped in Luther Dickinson to help you. You had help from the McCurry sisters, Kyle Linden, all joined you on this record. Yeah. So you've had this experience. We've got to work with some, heavy hitters.
Yeah.
And do you think about that for the next record? Like, what can I do to top that? Or where are you in that thought process with the next record?
Well, again, I think I'm going the opposite direction, where I'm going less hire big guns for the studio and more going what you get on the record is what you're going to get live. Okay. So I think that kind of answers that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
For example, Dominic John Davis has played bass on all of my records. Yeah. But again, other than an occasional CD release show, he's playing with people who can pay him much better. So
sure, but he likes you.
He would, in his heart, he would do it because we're old friends. But so I like the idea of going a different route this time. Not getting I have access to many amazing players, like you said. A lot of my friends have grown bigger than I have, and they would still work with me. It's just I think this time I want to just do something different and just go with almost a live experience, like what you're getting again. What you hear coming out of the studio on the record, we would just be pretty much doing live is my intent for the next project. So
okay. If there was a project that included more guests like that, do you have this working wish list in your head of boy, I'd really love to work with
Oh yeah, sure. 100%. Buddy Miller would be up there for me. If I could crowdfund enough money to have him produce something that would make my life. I have I've got one step away from him a couple different ways. Sure. So I'm close, and I feel like I could, again, make it happen if I had the funds. I have a concept for an album, maybe that will be not this next album, but a future album. I want to do a duets record, and I want to tap all of my famous friends and co-write a song with them all and have that be an album. So that's something in the back of my mind. And I also love singing with a big band with horns. So that's something I've always wanted to do for a record. I did a little bit of it on the last record. But again, it's hard to bring that into fruition on a stage in front of people. It will probably end up being more of a studio project and not really ever doing shows out. But I have lots of album ideas and concepts I want to do.
Okay.
Again, a follow through. Got to finish those songs. I can start writing and feel inspired and have concepts of albums, and I got to finish the songs. So, if you're Bernie Taupin or if you're a Bernie Taupin type and you're listening to this, give me a call.
Yeah. How about another song?
Yeah, sure. We've been. I was going to play another newer one, but you've been talking a lot about Marshall Street, so I also feel like maybe I should play that. And I'm already in tune for it, so it's a win-win.
I come pockets of the man next door, where it's hard to find your voice, 'cause you feel like rusty strings, and there's 1,000 shiny new guitars held there waiting in the wings. So I'm gonna drive on through the night till I forget where I am going. I'm riding shotgun with my doubts, but my cup is overflowing, yes, 'cause the days go by too fast to be flying the flag at half-mast. I came to rest in a city where the days and nights are seamless, and you see yourself reflected in the faces of the dreamless. Well, every evening down on Marshall Street, the best and brightest of the pool, up a bluebird bus and fly away, brave pawns in a rich man's war, a rich man. And down on Marshall Street they're fading fast. They've been flying the flag at half-mast. I was delivered to this country, yeah. I was born in the USA, where you can say whatever you like, as long as they like what you say. But that won't keep me quiet. Know that won't hold me down. I've got two empty and strong lungs, and I'm gonna push some air around. Yeah, I'm gonna push some air around. Are you gonna push your air around? 'Cause the days go by too fast to be flying the flag at half-mast. Yeah, the days go by too fast to be flying the flag at half-mast. How are you flying your flag? How are you flying your flag?
Jen Sygit on Acoustic Alternatives, the song that was my gateway drug, shall we call it. Marshall Street is the more or less title track from Leaving Marshall Street. And I had forgotten that on the actual recording, Seth and May are singing on that one. Drew Howard's playing dobro. Like, I haven't looked at the credits in so long.
I think Madcap plays some jaw harp on one of those songs.
My Sweet Angeline, yeah.
And Sam Corbin engineered that whole record, who's another Lansing. He was a Lansing, but now he's an Ann Arbor songwriter.
Ypsi, yeah. I haven't seen him.
That's right. Sorry, you got to differentiate.
We are in Ypsilanti right now as well.
Oh, right. Good point.
So that is a song that I said was the reason that I said, "Ooh, who is this?" and then started following and paying attention. And so there's always a starting point when you find your new artists, and that's the one for me. So 2011, we'll back up to that year because when you came with Sam Corbin to the studio to perform, you also brought somebody who I had heard of but didn't know. You brought Lindsay Liu and Josh Rocco with you that day. I'm like, I didn't know who this was. And so during that interview, I re-listened to it recently because I wanted to kind of review some of the things we talked about in the past. I learned that you and I think she and him were playing the Carter Family in a production.
We all three did.
Yeah.
The three of us together played the Carter Family. I
forgot about that completely until I read
Yeah, I forget about it too.
Do you ever think about doing more of that kind of stuff? Because you liked musical theater as a kid, and that's kind of essentially doing musical theater.
I mean,
more opportunity.
I was also the music director of that show, bizarrely enough. Honestly, it's harder to make a living being an actor than it already is as a musician.
Okay,
and though I was paid well for that show because I was the music director mostly, I don't see myself going in that avenue as like something more permanent. But that was a trip that we were all in that show. You should see the 70s versions of us when we had to have like 70s dresses and wigs because it's like the whole lifespan of these characters of the Carter Family. So yeah, totally weird. I gotta find the pictures. There's some really great pictures that we did an interview for like the local paper or whatever, and they took some fun pictures of like Lindsay holding an auto harp with us all and like
Yeah, it's kind of funny. But I always remember that was you bringing Lindsay to me and me kind of going, "Oh, wow, how did I miss that?" So that ties in together.
They were our neighbors in Lansing, and even after they moved to Nashville and blew up, when they would come to Lansing, one day I came out of the shower and Lindsay was just in my living room because there was a taco cart right by our house, and they were having taco cart, and my partner Jeff, who plays drums with Steven in it and Luke Winslow King and a bunch of different people around the state. He was getting tacos, and so she was like, I gotta go to the bathroom, and so he's like, oh yeah, go use the bathroom, but I was taking a shower, so when I came out she was waiting in the living room to use the restroom, which was really funny. And I was not expecting to have Lindsay in my living room when I came out of the shower.
No.
But we're old friends, yes, very old friends, and we've written some stuff together too. One song was an award for her people that had supported one of her records. We wrote a song called The Great Pacific Garbage Patch together. So you'll have to get a hold of her for that because I don't think I even have a copy of the recording, but that exists out there somewhere. Her and I singing in a song we wrote together called The Great Pacific Garbage Patch. And I got to see her at BlissFest with her new son, and super exciting to see her growing her family, and yeah.
I was completely honored. I just went to her show at the Arc last week or the week before. I didn't tell her I was coming. I didn't reach out to try and do a podcast with her, even though I want to, because I knew there's a new baby, and I'm like, that's not even going to work. So I didn't bother. But when I got there and I walked past the sound guy, he said, "Oh, did the manager find you? Lindsay said that if you're here, that she wants you to do the intro." I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I haven't done those. Like, I don't even do that anymore. But like, yeah, Lindsay wants me to do it. Of course I'm going to do it.
You will.
So I just honored that she actually even thought of me, because I wouldn't thought it'd be a thought on her brain at all, especially when she has a new baby. But
I know, and I don't see her that often anymore. It's like ships passing. He's usually at a festival really quick for like a few minutes. But there was a point when we spent a lot of time together, and she sent me a very sweet text message that led into a short convo last fall. She was at a venue in Fenville, Michigan, the southwest part of Michigan, called Salt of the Earth, which is an amazing eatery, but also they have great live music. It's curated really well. And Lindsay was there, and they were playing some of my music in the overhead before the show, and she just was like, I just wanted to let you know you're one of the best that ever was, and I sent that to Josh, and he said I should tell you directly.
Yes, yes, you should.
Yeah, so, but the feeling is mutual. We're very old friends, and I'm so lucky, all of my musical friends. I know it did happen organically, and it was just because we were all into it.
Yeah.
When I joined Earthwork, Seth Bernard wrote me a handwritten note, and it said, do you want to be in my songwriting collective? Circle yes or no. And then later it became like you had to get voted in, and it was like all, but like when I joined, it was very much like grassroots. There wasn't even an Earthwork, it was, so yeah. That's that.
Well, let's talk about one other thing we kind of grazed over. You did a radio show for many years,
I did.
and did it actually get syndicated? Because you mentioned that it did in one of our interviews.
So before I even took it over, it was maybe going to be on Sirius XM. And so the real story is a woman named Lynn Farino, who was a DJ for a long time at Lansing. It was LCC. Now it's Lansing Public Radio. I think it was LCC then. And she had a show called Strings and Things. And it had gained quite a bit of popularity. And she was leaving the station to go teach at Specs Howard in Detroit.
Which doesn't exist anymore, but
I didn't even know that.
it got folded into Lawrence Tech.
Okay. Well, at the time, the Lansing station was like, hey, we want to still have a show like this going. Would you want to take Lynn's show over? And I was like, of course I would, because it was a fabulous show, and she's fabulous. We're friends. And then Lynn kind of came and said, you know what? I think I've done it for so long. I'd like to keep the name of my show to myself. And I was like, totally understand. And so the station was like, create your own show. Started off as an hour, ended up as 2 hours for the last 7 years of my run. And it was great. It was hard to squeeze it in sometimes as a performer. Mm-hmm. And I pre-taped it all the time. It was never live. So I was never stuck in the studio. I was always pre-taping it. But it was a good experience, learning experience. I didn't mind all the free music. I certainly still get it, even though I haven't had a show since 2020. I still get email submissions and CDs occasionally in the mail. So if you're listening to this, you can stop sending me your CDs now, although they're lovely.
Yes.
And
was that something you wanted to do as a kid ever? Was radio something you ever thought about? It just an opportunity came up and you said,
love to make I've always loved making people mixed tapes and CDs. And I did it even in college when CDs were already kind of passé. Yeah. I honestly still think about making one for each of my family members for Christmas. I think I'm an audiophile, and I love songwriting and I'm music and everything about it. And I just always have from birth. And so, yeah, I'm kind of happy. I've tried in my life, even though I haven't expanded as much as other artists, I've tried to say yes to things and just try, even if I've never done them. So most of the time, I narrated a documentary, and I did video clues for a show called Quizbusters. It's like a high school version of Jeopardy, but it wins awards every year. It's a big deal. And I got to go be the video clues that pop up on the episode that they, so, I did the musical and was a musical director for the musical. And I'm not a music director. I just said, sure, I'll try, sure. You'll accomplish more things by just trying and saying yes. And if you're not too dense and you can pick up new skills, it usually goes all right, Yeah, I made my own website. I don't know anything about web design. Honestly, I can barely go back in and fix what I created because I just learned the skill for 2 days while I sat in a room for 2 whole days and made a website. And then the skills I picked up, I haven't retained. So I can go in and update my shows and such, but updating the little things I created myself, I don't even remember how to do it. So I could go back and teach myself again.
Of course you could. You're smart. So shows coming up. We got the ARC show on November 30th. There's the
November 30th.
Ebert and Friends, you'll be, as usual, one of the singers.
I'm in the house band as a singer and occasional banjo or whatever they need.
Do you get to do a lead song this year? I
am doing a lead song this year. I forgot what it is, so don't ask me because it was assigned to me, which is fine. I've been on the show long enough that I've run out of songs to pick myself. So,
They try not to repeat songs.
They do a good. Erin is an amazing curator for that show. She's done a great job of not repeating things or doing very different versions of the same song if they are repeated. And then I'm also I'm in a Joni Mitchell tribute show with Emily Slomovitz, Billy King, and Sandor Slomovitz, who is half of Gemini, which is a local Ann Arbor duo that's been around for a long time.
And Emily's dad.
Emily's dad. And so we all do, we've done a handful of shows, including at the Arc of a Joni tribute show that we've put together. And so we're doing that in November. I don't know the date without looking.
North Star Lounge, or where's that one located?
It's here. I will tell you right now.
She's got her website handy in her
It's
hand.
Club 704. It's inside
okay.
What is that center called? Do you remember?
I don't, but
It's like a multicultural center.
Yeah.
But the last show we broke their attendance record and they had to park people elsewhere. So,
Wow.
So if you want to go early because it'll probably be well attended. But yeah, so that'll be a fun Joni Mitchell experience. And then another tribute show I'm in December, not local to Ypsi Ann Arbor, but with Mark Lavengood, who's another former member of Lindsay Lou and the Flatbellies, Grace Tyson,
Yes.
and I'm forgetting the fourth person's name, but it's a John Prine tribute show where we're all doing a short set of John Prine tunes, and that's happening at Bell's Brewery in Kalamazoo. And that is on the 19th of December.
So some good stuff coming up for sure.
Yeah, lots of fun, good shows coming up in the next couple months.
Do you prefer playing solo or playing with a band? What is your preference?
Oh, I like them both for different reasons. Bands are super fun, and having friends to ride around in a car with as opposed to by yourself is really fun. And there's a certain synergy and safetyness of having a band back you up. However, it is kind of limiting. Like, you can only play songs they know in the keys they know them in. So if I'm having a bad voice day, I can't I can, but it'd be kind of a jerk move to be like, just kidding, we're going to play this in A flat or, whatever. So I like them both for different reasons. I can do whatever I want as a solo artist, and I have to stick to a certain set list and range of songs with the band. But they both have their good moments in their own ways.
Stella, the band that still is active, is there any things booked?
Yeah, we're not super active. We only had one show booked this year. We just did it. It was up in Grayling at the Osable Artisan Village. They have a brand new theater they built up there, and we just played there last weekend or the weekend before. Not a lot of shows for Stella this year, but yeah, the band still technically is active. We released our last record, I think, in 2013.
No, it's more recent than that, 2023.
Oh, see, I don't even know.
You lost a decade.
Oh yeah. What year is it?
2025.
I'm
Yeah, I know. I
showing
lose
my
decades
age.
too. Backstage Pass you did for PBS in your own town.
I did. Yeah, I won a Michigan Broadcasting Excellence Award for that show, and that got picked up nationally. So I was also getting emails from around the country
That's what
around
I
that
want to
era.
know, yeah.
Yeah, that show is no longer happening. Lots of budget cuts have happened, and it was PBS sort of related. So, but I was very fortunate to be a part of that show, especially like in its heyday. We had a whole episode. Later, they went to like kind of like Austin City Limits used to also have full episodes, and now they split an episode. So I think we had the whole episode when I did it. So we had a nice long show, and then I had great musicians with me on that too. Tammany Garamy, who's still practicing fiddle a lot down in Austin, Texas. Excuse me. Drew Howard, who's sideman to the Stars.
Yeah.
And then actually Spencer Kane, who also played bass with Lindsay and the Flatbellies, played bass on that show, even though he wasn't a full-time bass player with me. But yeah, anyway, I've had a lot of great life experiences that I sort of pinch myself and say, did that really happen? Like Stella went and made a record in New York and went to Sirius XM and played on Pump Up the Jams with, I'm going to forget his name now. Fail. He's the co-founder of Cream Magazine. Dave Marsh.
Oh, yeah.
Who's also a Michigan native. Yeah, Cream Magazine from the 60s, Cream Magazine.
Yeah.
And he's also Springsteen's official biographer and was the curator of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and such and blah, blah.
Yeah. And he's a fan.
So we stayed in his apartment, and he brought us in and had us play on a show. And we got to sign the wall next to Hootie and the Blowfish and Cool and the Gang. And,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there's other things too. I've done enough things. It's a good problem to have, but I've done enough fun things that I've forgotten some, and I have to be reminded. Like the play with
It's a good problem.
The play with Lindsay and Josh. Completely forget sometimes that even happened.
Yeah.
So,
well, if you want to hear more stories and more songs, it's November 30th at the Arc, and I think we can get Jen to do one more, maybe on banjo.
Sure, yeah, let's do a banjo tune since I brought it.
Banjo tunes. And we're in Grove Studios in Ypsilanti. This is located, if you're not familiar with, between Detroit and Ann Arbor, not far from I-94. And grovestudios.space is the website if you want to check it out and see the various rooms and rent it whenever it's convenient for you on the hour. It's like, 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, not 1:30 to 2:30. That's my only weird, if I have a complaint about it, it's like sometimes I don't want to be here at 1 o'clock. I want to be here at 1:30, but whatever. It's a small complaint. What are we doing?
I think I'm probably just going to do One in a Million, which is a co-write with Joe Sarapair for the band Stella. Just because I'm already in the right tuning for it. I have been playing more banjo, and I'm working on a new banjo tune, but it's not ready to be played out. But having the trio lets me play banjo a little more, so that's another happy side effect. But this is one I've done a lot, and it's a good old-fashioned murder ballad called One in a Million.
It was one in a million. It was one in a million, they say. Many tried, some have died. They were never satisfied till they taken down the Southern Pacific train. Tell you now that my daddy was a hugger. He drove that boiler down along the mains. He could drag a slow freight down, still he got there safe and sound. He was the greatest on the Southern Pacific train. And it was one in a million. It was one in a million, they say. Then he tried, some have died. They were never satisfied till they taken down the Southern Pacific train. It was on a winter's night near Topeka. Who could see that novelty through the rain? No one heard not a sound after he called for the bound till he pulled the ears on the Southern Pacific train. And it was one in a million. It was one in a million, they say. When he tried, some have died. They were never satisfied till they taken down the Southern Pacific train. No one knows quite for sure how it happened. No one knows how they hauled it away. On they left, I was told, as my daddy lying cold down beneath the rail of the Southern Pacific train. And it was one in a million. It was one in a million, they say. When he tried, some have died. They were never satisfied till they taken down the Southern Pacific Pacific train. Many tried, some have died. They were never satisfied till they taken down the Southern Pacific train. Till they taken down the Southern Pacific train.
Jen Sygit is my guest on Acoustic Alternatives. 1 in a Million, performed here at Grove Studios. Allison Brown, Steve Martin, if you're listening, maybe Jen could be your next collaborator. You know, they have that new album out together. Maybe they're looking for
I
somebody
do
to tour
watch
with.
Dirty Rotten Scandals like a couple times a week. It's a true story.
Great stuff. Thank you so much for sharing your talents and to talk to me.
Thanks
about
for having me. I really, really appreciate it. I
Long
appreciate
overdue.
you.
Well, thank you. It's nice to be appreciated, but you've been one of the best in this scene for a long time, and you deserve the, hey, let's talk about Jen, let her play some music, and hopefully if there are people who've never heard her on my show before, you know,
I'll just be happy if they come to the Arc. Just come to the Arc on November 30th. You'll hear a lot more 3-part harmony than you did today.
Yeah, you had 0 3-part harmony today.
0 3-part harmony
It'd be really
today.
hard to hear less than you heard today.
And maybe we'll make John introduce me there.
Well, I'll be in the audience.
All right.
I'll be there.
It's a date.
You said, come. You're gonna
Yes.
make sure I'm there.
Yes, you're on the guest list.
Woohoo. All right, grovestudios.space if you want to check the space out yourself, johnbomarito.com if you want to see the other 90 or so episodes that I've done over the years. If you want to support me, I have a Patreon page, which I make about $20 a month on, which is not much, but that's because I take some of the money I earn and give it to other people on Patreon to make sure I support other artists. So my playlist, my podcast, and my radio shows are all things I do for free. If you want me to be able to do them with a little bit of support, that's where you can find. So johnbomarito.com, there's a link to the Patreon page. You get access to old interviews that you can't hear anywhere else. That's what your reward is for that. So Jen, I will see you on the 30th.
Sounds good.
And thanks for listening. The next one up in the queue for podcasts for Acoustic Alternatives, finally, jazz artist, great vocalist, one of my favorites, Olivia Van Gore will be the next guest. Thanks for tuning in.